Cohan is the Executive Director of the Madison County Child Advocacy Center. She also has with her one of her board members, Patty Bortko, which they have 12 members on their board at the Child Advocacy Center. The Child Advocacy Center is located at the former Wood River Hospital with a lot of the other county departments now, and she's going to give a discussion and explanation of what services they provide. I first became familiar with their organization because my ex-husband is a police officer, and they use their services there quite a bit. And it's really a fabulous program that I think a lot of people don't even know exists, that is being funded and handled here within our county. So with that, I'll turn it over to Carrie.
Thank you. We have a PowerPoint, so let me turn this on real quick. I think it's going to work for us.
I forgot to mention that Carrie is originally from Highland, so she is actually an Illinois native here. Has been heading up the center for 2 years.
Thank you for having us, and we've already been introduced, so we'll just go on to the next slide. Patty's going to be clicking for me. I thought I'd start off with giving you some statistics about Madison County to sort of let you know why we exist and why it's important that we're around. This information comes from the 2008 Department of Children and Family Services annual report, and they are the only entity that aggregates child abuse information for the whole state. We also get referrals from law enforcement, but every law enforcement jurisdiction tracks their criminal cases differently, and so this is the best way that we can describe child abuse that's happening in Madison County. However, this information is actually less than the actual data because law enforcement information is not included in this. And not all law enforcement would be involved in every child abuse case. DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services, would not be involved in every case if the alleged perpetrator was not in the household or was not in a caretaker role. So that being said, in just Madison County last year, there were a little over 2,700 reports of abuse, and 698 of those were indicated, which means that the investigator for the Department of Children and Family Services believes that there was abuse occurring for that alleged allegation. And there were 262 children with allegations of sexual abuse, and 80 of those had indicated reports. When you break it down, I thought this might be a powerful way to think about it. When you compare the number of children in Madison County to the number of reports of abuse, 1 in 22 children have an allegation of child abuse in Madison County per year, which essentially means one child in every classroom in every school in Madison County has had a report of abuse. That doesn't mean it's been indicated, but that's how often that this is happening. There really isn't anyone who doesn't know someone who is affected by this. You just may not know it. Let me also let you know that if at any point you have questions, just ask, because some of the stuff we talk about may bring up a question in your mind, and it's probably more helpful for me to talk about it or tell a story at that moment, so just interrupt me at any time. Our mission is to minimize the trauma for children who have allegations of sexual abuse and major physical abuse. So any case that comes to any case of sexual abuse in Madison County will come through the Child Advocacy Center, and some major physical abuse cases will come through the center. Before Child Advocacy Centers existed, which 1987 was when the movement sort of happened for Child Advocacy Centers, when a child had an allegation of sexual abuse, what might happen to them is they would tell their friend at school, and their friend at school would tell their teacher, and then their teacher would tell their school social worker, and then the school social worker would tell the principal, and then the principal would probably tell the superintendent. And every one of these people in this process, the child is having to tell the story to over and over and over and over again. And the child has yet to tell anyone who is going to intervene on their behalf at this point. So then they might call the Department of Children and Family Services, and an investigator will come out and talk to the child, and then they may determine that law enforcement needs to be involved, and then a detective from law enforcement will come talk to the child. And then a defense attorney may want some information about the case, so they may request to talk to the child, and the child's prosecuting attorney may want to talk to the child. Before CACs existed, a child may talk to up to 15 people prior to something happening. And in addition to that includes medical exams that some children go through when there's an allegation, and if they happen to be referred for counseling, they would be talking to a counselor or a mental health professional. After CACs were created, it's a one-stop shop. And it's a place where kids come in and they talk about their story one time. They are DVD recorded at our Child Advocacy Center. You'll see some pictures at the end, but we coordinate a multidisciplinary team, so all of the people who need to know information about a case are there all together in one place, and the child doesn't have to tell their story 15 times. They have to tell it maybe once, a couple times. They usually tell the first person that finds out about it. They come to the center, and then they may have to talk about it again for prosecution, but it significantly limits how many times a child has to talk. And then prior to CACs, kids would have to go to a police department and sit in the same interrogation room that a suspect for murder sits in and is interrogated about a crime. Our Child Advocacy Center is not in a house, which is how the first centers were designed, but ours is in the old radiology department at the Wood River Hospital. But we have child-friendly waiting rooms, we have kid-sized furniture, we have it set up so the kids feel comfortable, and the professionals, including law enforcement, when they come to the center, they don't come in their street uniform. Most of them come in shirts and ties or suits for the women. And it's sort of a less intimidating place for the kids to come talk about their story. In Illinois, almost all of the counties are covered by a Child Advocacy Center. The ones that are in white, there's a band just north of us that goes across the whole state that are officially not covered, and a few up north. We actually cover Calhoun, Greene, Jersey, Macoupin, Montgomery, and Bond by doing courtesy interviews to those counties. So most of the time they come to our center to have the services of our center as well. And then just so you're aware, we're a part of a large network. We have a state chapter that connects all of our Illinois CACs. We have a regional chapter, and then we have a national chapter. And I put a little plug in for our CAC. We just went through the accreditation process in July. We won't officially find out till October, but we anticipate becoming accredited with our national entity this October, so we're really excited about that. So who comes to us? The first thing that we require is that the emergency needs of a child are met. If they need to go seek medical care because of something that's happened to them, that's the most important thing that they need to do, and that needs to happen first. We primarily work with allegations of sexual abuse and some major physical abuse cases. We typically serve kids ages 3 to 17, that's our protocol, and we've been seeing more and more juvenile perpetrators, and you were talking about texting today. Cell phones have brought about a whole new set of challenges for our law enforcement and Department of Children and Family Services professionals in dealing with the things that our kids are sending back and forth to each other. So we never interrogate a child at the center, and we never, if we can keep from doing it, have them put anything on tape that would